What if I told you that every decision you've ever made wasn't really yours? That invisible architects have been engineering your thoughts, desires, and even your deepest fears since the moment you were born. Ancient texts warned us about them. The Gnostics called them Archons, rulers of a false reality designed to keep humanity trapped in an endless cycle of consumption, distraction, and spiritual amnesia. You think you're living in the real world, but what you're experiencing is a carefully constructed simulation. A matrix of beliefs, systems, and illusions so sophisticated that most people will never question it. But once you see the cracks in this programmed reality, you can never unsee them. Today we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal how the Archons system operates in plain sight, disguised as normal life. Long before modern conspiracy theories, ancient Gnostic texts from the 1st and 2nd centuries spoke of a disturbing reality. These weren't fairy tales or mythology. They were warnings about the true nature of our existence. The Gnostics described the Archons as interdimensional entities, parasitic forces that feed on human emotion, particularly fear, anger, and suffering. But here's what makes them truly dangerous. They don't control us through physical force. They control us by creating an artificial reality that we mistake for truth. In the Nag Hammadi texts, discovered in 1945 in Egypt, the Archons are depicted as rulers of the material world who deliberately keep humanity ignorant of their divine nature. They accomplish this through a system the Gnostics called the counterfeit spirit, a false overlay of reality that convinces us we are merely physical beings, disconnected from source consciousness. Think about that for a moment. These ancient mystics claimed that what we perceive as reality is actually a sophisticated deception designed to harvest human consciousness like a crop. Sound familiar? The Matrix trilogy drew heavily from Gnostic philosophy. But unlike Hollywood's version, this isn't about machines and green code. It's about something far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. A reality construct built from belief systems, social programming, and manufactured consent. The Archons understood a fundamental truth. You don't need chains to imprison someone if you can convince them the prison is reality itself. So how does this programmed world actually function? Let's break down the architecture of control that operates in every society, every institution, every aspect of modern life. The financial prison. First, consider the monetary system. You're born into a world where a piece of paper or a digital number determines your survival. You didn't agree to this system. You didn't sign a contract. Yet from childhood, you're taught that your worth is measured by your productivity and your ability to generate currency. The average person spends 90,000 hours of their life working. That's over 40 years of waking hours. For what? To pay for housing on a planet you were born on, to buy food that grows freely from the earth, to afford healthcare for a body that naturally wants to heal itself. This isn't a natural system, it's an engineered one. The archonic principle at work here is simple: keep humanity in survival mode. When you're constantly worried about making rent, paying bills, or feeding your family, you don't have mental energy to question the nature of reality itself. The education indoctrination. Then there's the education system. From age 5, children are placed in institutional settings where they're taught what to think, not how to think. Sit in rows, follow instructions, memorize information, regurgitate it on tests, repeat. Critical thinking, creativity, spiritual exploration. These are systematically discouraged. Why? Because independent thinkers are dangerous to programmed systems. The goal isn't education, it's standardization. It's standardization, creating compliant workers who accept authority without question. Notice how the most creative, free-thinking children are often diagnosed with disorders and medicated into compliance. The system literally drugs children who don't conform to its parameters. The media manipulation. Now, let's talk about the most powerful programming tool ever created: mass media. Television, news, social media, advertising. These aren't just entertainment or information sources. They're consciousness modification devices. The average person consumes over 11 hours of media per day. Think about that. 11 hours of content carefully crafted to shape your perception of reality, your desires, your fears, and your beliefs. The news media keeps you in a constant state of fear and division. Entertainment media normalizes destructive behaviors while portraying genuine spiritual seeking as crazy or dangerous. Social media creates artificial comparison and competition while harvesting your attention, the most valuable resource you possess. This is predictive programming at scale. By controlling the stories you consume, the system controls the reality you believe is possible. The pharmaceutical dependency. Then there's the medical-pharmaceutical complex. Don't misunderstand. Emergency medicine saves lives. But the broader system is designed around dependency, not healing. Symptom management over root causes. Lifetime medications over lifestyle changes. Suppression over expression. The body's natural healing processes are overridden with synthetic interventions that often create new problems requiring more interventions. And let's address the elephant in the room: the systematic suppression of consciousness, expanding substances. Throughout human history, sacred plants and fungi have been used for spiritual awakening and healing. Yet these are criminalized, while alcohol, a substance that numbs consciousness, remains legal and celebrated. Why? Because awakened consciousness threatens programmed control. But the physical systems are just the surface level. The real prison is psychological, a control grid built from belief systems that most people never question. The identity trap. You've been assigned multiple identity labels from birth: your nationality, your race, your religion, your gender, your political affiliation, your socio-economic class. These aren't inherent truths about who you are. They're programmed categories designed to divide humanity into manageable, conflicting groups. The archonic principle here is division. United, awakened humanity is unstoppable. But humanity divided against itself over artificial differences. Completely controllable. Every time you identify primarily with a label rather than your consciousness, you strengthen the program. Every time you see us versus them instead of we, you're running archonic software in your mind. The unworthiness programming. Perhaps the most insidious programming is the belief in human unworthiness. Original sin in religious programming, not being enough in cultural programming, constant inadequacy in advertising programming. You're taught that you're born broken and need external salvation, whether from a deity, a product, a relationship, or an ideology. This creates an endless seeking outside yourself for something you already possess within. The truth the Archons don't want you to remember. You are consciousness itself, temporarily inhabiting a physical form. You are the divine experiencing itself subjectively. You need nothing external to complete you because you are already whole. The future projection. Notice how the system constantly keeps your attention focused on the future. Planning, worrying, striving, becoming. You'll be happy when you get the degree, the job, the house, the partner, the retirement. This is deliberate. Present moment awareness is where your true power resides. It's where intuition speaks, where creativity flows, where you can perceive beyond the program. By keeping your consciousness projected into an imaginary future, the system ensures you never access your power in the now. The authority outsourcing. From childhood, you're trained to outsource authority to external sources. Parents, teachers, bosses, politicians, experts, influencers, always someone else who supposedly knows better than you. This creates a population that looks outside themselves for truth, permission, and guidance. But your inner knowing, your connection to source consciousness, is the only genuine authority in your life. The system fears nothing more than individuals who trust their own inner guidance over external programming. Once you understand the architecture of control, you start noticing the glitches, moments where the programmed reality doesn't quite add up, synchronicities and coincidences. Pay attention to meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. Thinking of someone right before they contact you, seeing repeating numbers everywhere, encountering exactly what you need at precisely the right moment. The programmed worldview dismisses these as meaningless chances. But what if they're actually glimpses of a deeper intelligence operating beyond the archonic overlay? Evidence that you're more connected to the fabric of reality than the program wants you to believe. The Mandela effect: collective memories that don't match recorded reality. Did the Monopoly man have a monocle or not? Is it Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? Thousands of people remember one thing, but reality shows another. The conventional explanation is false memory. But what if it's evidence of reality being more malleable than we're taught? What if consciousness and observation actually affect the quantum nature of reality itself? Déjà vu and timeline shifts. That strange feeling that you've experienced this exact moment before. The sense that reality just shifted slightly. These experiences are dismissed as brain glitches, but they might be moments where you briefly perceive beyond the linear time construct of the program. Dreams and the veil. Why do dreams feel so real while you're in them? Why do you accept impossible things as normal in dream states? Because consciousness doesn't require physical reality to create experiential reality. What if waking life is just a more stable, collectively agreed upon dream? A consensus hallucination maintained by belief and attention. Ancient mystics called physical reality Maya illusion, not because nothing exists, but because what we perceive is a filtered, interpreted version of something far more vast and mysterious. Energetic awareness. Start paying attention to energy, something the program tells you doesn't exist. The feeling when you enter a room where people just argue, the immediate like or dislike of someone you just met, the sense of being watched, then turning to find someone staring at you. These aren't superstitions. They're evidence of perception beyond the 5 physical senses that the program tries to limit you to. The observer effect. Quantum physics has proven that observation affects reality at the subatomic level. The double-slit experiment showed that particles behave differently when observed. This suggests consciousness plays a fundamental role in manifesting reality. Yet this world-changing discovery is taught as a weird quirk of physics, then ignored. Why? Because if people realized they're not passive observers but active creators of their experienced reality, the entire control system collapses. Understanding the system is the first step, but awareness alone won't free you. You need practical methods to deprogram and reclaim your sovereign consciousness. Media detox. Start by breaking the attention addiction. Drastically reduce or eliminate news consumption, social media scrolling, and passive entertainment. This isn't about ignorance, it's about reclaiming the territory of your own mind. The withdrawal will be uncomfortable because these are genuine addictions. Your nervous system has become habituated to constant stimulation and dopamine hits. But on the other side of that discomfort is mental clarity you may not have experienced since childhood. Question: everything adopt radical skepticism toward any belief you didn't consciously choose. Ask yourself, do I actually believe this, or was this belief installed by family, culture, education, or media? This includes comfortable beliefs and inconvenient ones. The goal isn't cynicism, it's discernment. Examining your belief system like you're debugging software, finding and removing programs you never consciously installed. Reclaim your time. Your time and attention are your life force. Every hour given to the system's demands is an hour not spent in genuine self-discovery, creativity, and connection. This might mean difficult choices, living more simply to work less, saying no to social obligations that drain you, prioritizing being overdoing. The system will call this irresponsible or lazy. That's the program speaking. Reconnect with nature. The natural world operates on principles completely different from archonic systems. No money, no hierarchy, no artificial scarcity, just intelligent interconnection and abundance. Spend regular time in nature, without devices, without agenda, without trying to accomplish anything. Let your nervous system remember that it evolved over millions of years in natural environments, not in concrete boxes staring at screens. Nature is the antidote to artificial reality. Develop inner practices. Meditation, breathwork, contemplation. These aren't just relaxation techniques. They're consciousness technologies that create direct experience beyond conceptual thinking. The program operates through thought and belief. When you learn to observe thought rather than be thought, you step outside the primary control mechanism. You discover the awareness that witnesses experience without being defined by it. This is what the system fears most. Individuals accessing the stillness where programming cannot reach. Creative expression. Genuine creativity bypasses the logical mind that's been colonized by programming. Whether through art, music, movement, writing, or any form of authentic expression, creativity accesses deeper aspects of consciousness. Notice how the system wants to monetize, judge, and professionalize creativity. That's the attempt to control this gateway to unfiltered consciousness. Create for the sake of creating, not for external validation or profit. Build authentic community. The system thrives on isolation and superficial connection. Real community, not based on labels, beliefs, or transactions, but on genuine presence and mutual support, is revolutionary. Find others on the awakening path, share experiences and insights. Support each other through the disorientation that comes with seeing through the program. But be discerning. New Age movements and spiritual communities can become new prisons with different decor. Here's where it gets interesting. After all this talk about programmed reality and archonic control, you might feel disempowered or paranoid. But understanding the program actually leads to profound freedom once you grasp the paradox. You can't escape what you are. The ultimate truth that breaks the entire control system: you are not in the program. The program is in consciousness, and you are consciousness itself. The Archons can't actually control consciousness. They can only manipulate its content, thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, identities. But the awareness that experiences all of this, that remains untouched and untouchable. Think of it like a movie. The film can contain stories of imprisonment, suffering, and control. But the screen on which the movie plays is never affected by what appears on it. You are the screen, not the movie. The program is an opportunity. From the highest perspective, even the archonic system serves consciousness, evolution. Constraint creates the desire for freedom. Illusion makes truth precious. Forgetting makes remembering profound. You chose to incarnate into this experience. Not because you're being punished, but because consciousness explores itself through every possible configuration, including apparent limitation and separation. This doesn't excuse the manipulation or make suffering noble, but it does shift your relationship with it from victim to conscious participant in a cosmic game. Power through non-resistance. The system feeds on resistance. Every time you fight against it with anger, fear, or hatred, you strengthen it with your energy. The Archons don't care if you love or hate the system. Both emotional states give them what they need. True power comes through non-resistance, seeing the program clearly without being emotionally hooked by it, choosing your responses consciously rather than reacting automatically. Walking through the world awake while others sleep, neither superior nor inferior, just present. creating new patterns. You can't destroy the old program through opposition, but you can make it irrelevant by creating new patterns that operate on different principles, live by different values, create alternative systems of exchange and connection, raise children with awareness and sovereignty rather than compliance and fear, share knowledge without trying to convince anyone. The old program maintains itself through force and manipulation. The new reality grows organically from consciousness, choosing alignment over programming. So here we are, back where we started, except nothing is the same once you've seen through the veil. The Archons' programmed world is real, but it's not reality. It's a construct, a game, a temporary manifestation of consciousness, exploring what it's like to forget itself. You are never truly trapped because what you actually are cannot be confined. The prison was always made of belief, not bars. And belief can change in an instant, which is why awakening can happen in a single moment of clear seeing. Does knowing all this make life easier? Not necessarily. It might actually make things harder in some ways. You can't know what you've seen. You can't go back to sleep once you're awake. You'll see the program operating in people you love, in systems you participate in patterns within yourself. But you'll also experience something far more valuable than comfort, authenticity, freedom, presence, the ability to move through this world without being in it, to play the game while knowing it's a game, to experience the full range of human life without being imprisoned by it. The question isn't whether the programmed reality exists. It clearly does. The question is, who are you within it? Are you the character in the program, defined by labels and limitations, reacting to conditioning and following scripts written by others? Or are you the consciousness witnessing the program, capable of choosing which aspects to engage with and which to transcend? This isn't a one-time choice. It's a moment-by-moment practice of remembering what you actually are beneath all the programming. Every time you catch yourself running an automated pattern and choose differently, you weaken the program's hold. Every moment of genuine presence is an act of rebellion against artificial consciousness. The Archons' world will continue operating whether you see through it or not. Systems will keep spinning, people will keep sleeping, the program will keep programming. But you, the infinite awareness reading these words right now, you have a choice that no external force can make for you. Remain asleep in the comfortable dream, or wake up to something larger, stranger, and more beautiful than the program ever allowed you to imagine. The door has always been open. You were just taught not to see it. Now you know where to look.